Chairman and the members of the committee. Chairman, I was telling the IG that I've spent 10 years here, and so I feel very much at home in Parliament. And really acknowledge, the National Assembly is a house of representation. And so, without even going deep into Article 95, the fact that we are here is where the nation assembles. And so on any matter, we must be able to, speak to the people. And that is why we're cooperating as we are, because I acknowledge and I'm a big champion for the place of oversight and the place of representation of the people. And I'm very happy. I'm honestly happy to have the opportunity to explain the context of what happened. And to give the context of the relations between the Nairobi County government and other agencies. There is a long history between us. Chairman, I will give that brief context, and then as I answer the specific questions that were asked, thank you for allocating sufficient time for that. And I'm grateful, and I don't take for granted that members are here in good numbers. Indeed, this is an issue that I think captured the attention of the whole country. It's a very unfortunate situation that has us here. When I look to my left, I see the leaders of our security agencies who really should be protecting Kenyans elsewhere, right now. And we have many challenges. And so allow me to, at the outset, even before getting into the details, the dumping incident at Kenya Power headquarters was completely uncouth. It was wrong. It was it was something not sanctioned, Chairman. It is something that the government does not do. It was completely off. I will explain the context within which what found our people there, but the dumping of garbage was very primitive. And I lead a big institution. I have almost 20,000 staff. But the ultimate responsibility, the buck stops with me as a governor. And so on behalf of the staff, I apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people of Nairobi, to the residents and tenants and business people there. That should never have happened, and it will never happen under my watch. I will not allow that to happen again. Chairman, in as much as we have issues with Kenya Power, they have claims against us, we have a bigger claim against them. Putting the public to whom we owe a duty of care in the crossfire, in the crosshairs, is wrong. It is unjustifiable. And so on behalf of the team, or the individuals, and I will explain the action that I've taken since, we have said we are sorry about that. It cannot happen under my watch. It cannot. And I will never allow that again. That is not what you do in the 21st century in the capital city of Kenya. This is a global hub. This is a diplomatic hub. This is a city that many across the continent look up to. And they want to be like Nairobi. I sit in many forums. I'm the vice chair of C40 Cities, which is a climate action cities. I deputize the mayor of London. All these other mayors talk about how they want, they look up to Nairobi. And so let it be on record, because this is a house of record, that action of dumping is something I condemn myself. And that is why when it happened, immediately, in less than an hour, actually less than 30 minutes, what was dumped was cleared. Immediately, we said you cannot have that. It is wrong. It is wrong. We have so far interdicted officers. The documents are here within your package. I've interdicted 2 officers from the revenue department. It was actually a revenue operation, and I'll explain what was going on. Investigations are ongoing. We have an investigation department within the county, and we're also working with the police to make sure. In fact, we agreed to have a liaison. Nairobi is so important that working with the national government, especially when it comes to security, is critical. And so rest assured that it doesn't end there. We'll get to the complete, not just the root cause, but the solution. And people will pay for it, for for the actions that they took. The history of this relationship, first of all, Nairobi and Kenya Power are almost brother and sister. In fact, Nairobi County Government is the one that started Kenya Power in the early 1900s. We used to have this Nairobi City Power Syndicate. There was Mayor Udall, who said that there's a need for a power source for Nairobi. And at that time in 1928, we set up Ruiru Dam to start providing power to the city. In fact, if you look at it critically, Nairobi County has shares in Kenya Power as a founding institution. We started it. Then Mombasa Power was started and later created East Africa Power Company. We've had a few run-ins, and the documents between you have the correspondence between us and Kenya Power. The law, and I'm very grateful to Parliament, you passed a very strong legislation which was assented to by the President in December of 2024, the National Rating Act. The Constitution in Chapter 12 talks about different revenue-raising roles between the national government and the county government. Part of what the county governments, because we need to raise the revenue to sort out, our hospitals, to build roads, to feed our children. In Nairobi, we are feeding 316,000 of them every day at 5 shillings. To take care of the environment. If you look outside Parliament, Bunge Square, the work that I did here, people want to see it everywhere, And so because of that, we're given the power to raise revenue, and especially through property taxes. If you go to Physical Land Use Planning Act, PLUPA, it talks about development control. Development control includes way-leaves, the third schedule of PLUPA. Way-leaves, and it goes to the extent allow me just to read the specific provision. If you go to the third schedule of the Physical Land Use Planning Act, it talks about consideration for easements and way-leaves as a function of the counties. The following services that require easement and way-leaves: 1, telecommunications; 2, electrical power supply; 3, water and sewage works; 4, oil pipeline; 5, fiber optic; 4, base transmission stations; and any other service as may require easement and or way-leave. There is a requirement in the law that any such installation on public land that belongs to the county must have both county approval and a payment to the county. So we have said in our calculations that Kenya Power owes the county government of Nairobi 4.9 billion shillings. Yeah? From our calculation, 4.9 billion shillings. And they have claimed from us now 1.5 billion shillings. In 2017, Kenya Power went to court to challenge the requirement of them to pay way-leaves from county governments to county governments. They had a case which I have also mentioned in this package of documents. If you look at Annex number 14, Kenya Power Lighting versus the county government of Nairobi. And the order by Justice Mativo, actually the case was thrown out, meaning that the status quo remained. They sought leave, and I think that time maybe Honorable Aduma was in the county government. They sought leave for stay to appeal because they felt they shouldn't pay county governments. That leave was sought. They never filed the appeal. That is Annex number 15. Meaning the status quo is that county governments must be paid for provision of this service. Now, the Energy Act of 2019, when I was here in Parliament actually, brought in a provision that says that for you to put any charge or levy on public energy infrastructure, you need consent of the Cabinet Secretary. I think that was to forestall piling up of that debt. That notwithstanding, the amounts owed before, because the law does not act retroactively. The law doesn't act retroactively. So the debts that are there before are still owed to county government. So what we did when I got into office, Chairman, is that I approached Kenya Power because a lot of the bills are historic. They're bills from City Council, they're bills from the first county government, the second county government, but government exists in perpetuity. I cannot say that those are other people's bills I will not pay. We started with Kenya Power, and I said, let us do a verification of what you're claiming from Nairobi. We did a joint verification exercise, Chairman, for a number of months. If you look at Annex number 11, because they were claiming 3 billion from the county government. And I said, it can't be 3 billion. What are we selling? After that verification, the bill went to half, to 1.5. The document is in section, Annex 11. It is signed by both Kenya Power and Nairobi County Government. What we found was that there were some meters that Nairobi had been paying for that are not in Nairobi County. There are meters in Turkana. There are accounts in Kisii County, accounts in Kiambu County that the county was being charged. There were some businesses, butchery here, whatnot. So once those were cleared, the bill came down to 1.5 billion. And so that is what, on record, at that stage of verification, was owed by Nairobi County Government to Kenya Power Limited. And I said, pragmatically, okay, we have this debt, we will have a payment plan. In fact, Chair, I hope I have attached. Subsequent to that, and if it's not here, I can provide it. We have then found that during the NMS time, 700 million shillings was paid again to Kenya Power, reducing it from 1.5 to around 800. 700 million shillings. I'll provide that document before midday, Chair, if you indulge me. And even as that verification goes on, it is okay. Yes, I owe you. I'll be paying 60 million shillings of the old debt and the current bill. That's what we agreed. Now, we said, what about your debt to us? What you owe us? The National Rating Act provides in section 19, and before that even 18, that a proper demand notice be sent. In December, I personally went to Kenya Power, and I told the MD and the team there, you know, we are both government. I feel you owe me more than I owe you. You can't just come and switch off lights. Because what we pay for as the Nairobi County Government, and I'm glad I have the security agencies here, the bulk of the debt is not City Hall. City Hall has no debt. It's not our hospitals. They have almost zero debt. It is street lights. If you switch off street lights in Nairobi County, it's a security concern. And it's rightfully before this committee. We pay for all of the street lights in the city. Yes, we've been discussing with the ministry how to even look at the tariff, reduce it, because it's a national security issue of having lighting in the county. But I told him, it is not proper for you to, once a payment is missed by a week, you immediately come to switch off. I think members, as Parliament, exchequer delays. Counties got January money just on Friday. It happens. It happens. But institutions should understand each other. And so we agreed. But we sent a demand notice for the 4.9 billion shillings. The demand notice is here. If you look at the correspondence that has been there, look at Annex 7, outstanding wayleave charges since 2002 from Kenya Power, signed by the county secretary. 2017, zero response. 2019, to Engineer Jared Othieno, then MD Kenya Power, about outstanding annual wayleaves, 70 million, zero response. If you look at 19th March 2020, same issue, to Kenya Power, zero response. But when you miss one payment, you're completely cut off. If you look at Annex 14, sorry, 16, if you have it in your bundle, it's a statement from Mombasa County. Same issue. Hospital switched off, Coast General Hospital, and the governor talks about it, how those powers undermine devolution. Number two, if you look at the statement by the Council of Governors, the Council of Governors issued a statement last week, And they raised cases in Migori, in Homa Bay, Kisumu District Hospital 2014, power disconnected, putting lives at risk. 2019, the county offices. Kilifi Civil Registration Office 2023, that serves 300 people daily. Mombasa General Hospital, and so on and so forth. And so I said, look, as government, we can even offset the debt. You know, yako ni kubwa kuliko yangu, toa kata ile pesa na kudai, ile unandai. We agree, sorry Chair, I know in Parliament once you start in one language, you finish. Forgive me for that. Now, after sending that demand to the Kenya Power, of course ignored like these other letters, what do you do as a county government? You use the powers that are there within the law for you to enforce. The National Rating Act, in section 19, gives the county a couple of remedies. Gives the county a couple of remedies. And it says, where any person fails to pay any rates of interest due from them, as provided for under section 16 of this act, and whatever is in development control under blooper, having been properly served with demand defaults in paying the rates, the county government may, 1, levy a penalty at the prevailing central bank rate. 2, deny certain county services, which is what the county did. We denied them water and sanitation services, which we provide. 3, institute a suit against the defaulter. 4, create a charge against the rateable property by notifying the registrar in charge of land. People ask, you know, Stima Plaza is not owned by KPLC, but the rateable owner in this law is the person who pays rates. The rates for that building are paid for by Kenya Power and Lighting Company. Now, I mean, those are the ones we went for. So please, I need to be clear, we did not go to Kenya Power because of retaliation or because of our bills. It was not about electricity. It was about leaves and land rates. Having served a demand notice, which is in this document, dated December 6th. The other thing, it says that you can actually appoint a receiver on the rateable property to recover rent from tenants and occupiers. So if you have an apartment building and you have not been paying rates, the county government can take it over and actually collect rent from the residents. It's something that we have actually done before in many places, and we should have noticed that the time is coming for people to, because everybody must pay their fair share for us to have a clean city, for us to have a city of order, for us to have a city where we can provide services to our people. Everybody must pay their fair share. We have 256,063 parcels of land in this county, but only 50,000 people, 50,000 accounts are paying. They're carrying the burden for everybody else. And more still, if it is other agencies of government that do not even consider that they should pay anything. And we want the member of public to pay, but our institutions are not paying. So what happened then on Friday is that, 1, we clamped down the building, Kenya Power. We denied them the county services after having issued that demand notice. For them now to come and say this will be our payment plan for what we owe you, or even to say on record, we don't believe we owe you, and we take it to court. On Monday, the unthinkable happened, which I again reiterate is crude. That an officer, one officer, you know, you can have 20,000 officers, but one just decides to tip. They tipped the garbage. It was completely disappointing. You don't do that to your people. And that is why I immediately told them to restore the area. What has happened since is that we have met with the ministry, together with the head of public service. We agreed after the meeting, because you know, you couldn't just restore. Once you've issued a demand enforcement notice, you can't just withdraw it without a resolution or a way forward towards settling what the issue was. And that was a meeting that was held at the office of the president, led by Felix Koske and Kenya Power and Opio and I. We agreed. We said, yes, based on this, because we've agreed with the Cabinet Secretary that the commercial issues of debts between us shall be solved between the CS of Energy and the Governor of Nairobi. We have a meeting on Wednesday to look into it. We restored the state of things at KPLC headquarters. We did a cleanup exercise. We did a fumigation. We have, with our public health teams. Of course, we work very well with NEMA on many things. And we're discussing things to do ahead moving forward. We work very closely with them and these other agencies. We've restored, in fact, we said we shall even beautify additionally. And I personally, will also engage with everybody around that place because they're our people. But there's one thing that I need you to understand. Counties are not being greedy when asking for payment, especially on commercial services. We can say, okay, from Energy Act 2019, energy infrastructure, maybe we can discuss, let's not charge. But tell me, Chairman, I'm sure when you live here, I will give you a chance to just look on the road. You will see a blue cable, a yellow cable, a red one, cutting across for internet service providers. These internet service providers used to pay counties for e-lifts. But what happened is that this entity, now for the commercial aspect, tells them, instead of paying the counties, come on our posts. And when you're on our posts, you not pay us. So these ISPs were asking, Governor, we thought that Kenya Power pays you for what we pay them, because they pay them commercially. I told them, no, they don't pay a shilling. Because actually what we need to do, and we've agreed, and they're very open to it, is have a common service duct. A common service duct, where whether you're Jamii Telcom, or Fiber, or Safaricom, or Zuko, or whoever it is, you can't put your cable. It is within, it is concealed, it is neat, it is not what we've been seeing. That has led to even cutting down of trees. Every day, trees are being cut down because of those cables, which is commercial. It is an example I'll give you for clarity. Every vehicle that goes on the expressway has to pay, isn't it? They pay. So this is one guy with a large truck that carries other vehicles saying, instead of all of you paying, enter my truck. So this truck has carried another 20 vehicles, and he's the only one who's paying. Now, in this case, they're not even paying. These service providers, we are supporting the digital superhighway. This capital must actually look neat, and that's something that we will continue pursuing. That let's have a common service duct. Because today I do a road, one person comes, digs it up to put their cable or to put the infrastructure. They restore it halfway. Tomorrow somebody else comes, digs up, saying, oh, I want to pass this electricity, I want to pass this cable. That is not orderly. And that is not what Plupa provides for us. So question number one that was asked was the specific actions. I have responded to that. I've said that the decision to block the entrance and to cease provision of county services was a county government decision pursuant to the provisions of the law. The incident where the track tip was not sanctioned, that one I completely apologize. I cannot say it enough. It was wrong, primitive, completely not sanctioned. 2 senior officers have been interdicted as investigations continue. Number 2,
you can expound on that. Which officers were these which were interdicted?
So the interdiction...
And of course, what are their mandate?
Okay. Yeah. The interdiction letters are in the bundle. They are annexed. There are 2 officers. Is it 13?
13 and 12, eh?
Yes, yes.
You can see...
Thank you, Chairman. The first officer is Dr. John Doity. He's the Acting Director of Revenue Administration. Yeah? And it says preliminary investigations indicate that he directed the dumping of garbage outside Stima Plaza along Kolobot Road within Parklands. In view of the foregoing, you are hereby interdicted from exercising the duties of your office with effect from the date of this letter, pending finalization of this investigation. By a copy of this letter, the Director Investigation and Information Analysis is required to expeditiously complete investigation in this case. That the director was there. It was a revenue operation. The second person is Sankale Lempaka, who is a Director Debt Collection Unit. Yeah, Debt Collection Unit. What we call the DCU. the letter says debt management, but it's not it's the debt collection unit. And they're the ones who do that operation. So they've been interdicted. Because, there are drivers and whatnot, but those people, they follow instructions, and they're innocent. The person who can give such an instruction, pour garbage to the people, I think that is where we're taking our administrative action. Because look at who you have here today. You're the Inspector General of the whole country, the DIG, 2 DIGs, DCI. Because one person said pour garbage. It's completely wrong. It's not right. So I've taken that action, Chairman. The immediate measures taken by the county government to address the public health risks is immediately, first of all, there are measures taken to remove the dumped garbage. That what was thrown on the ground was removed within an hour maximum. I think it was less. Immediately. We didn't let it sit there. We didn't let it stay. And then our public health department, first of all, after agreement, because this thing had become so emotive that even you had the staff, including my own friends, like Ernest Dadome, the Secretary General of the Labor Union there. Chair, I'm sure you remember I've been a leader of Labor Committee in this house for 10 years, and I also lead Labor at COG. And my friend, and he said, they're coming to even cut off my house, And so because of that tension, we have to show a sign of unity between myself and the leadership of Kenya Power.
Governor, I don't want to disrupt you. I had earlier given a ruling that interventions are going to be minimal.
Yes, sir.
But if you talk about the garbage where it was removed immediately, you actually indicated less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then what occasioned the KPLC to go now to court to look intervention of court to enforce you to
see
why the area?
When they went to court, Chair, they first went to seek stay orders for us to restore services to them. The stay orders were declined. They wanted conservatory orders. They were declined because, and people must understand, Kenya Power can switch you off when you don't pay your bill. You can't go to court and say you need your power restored. You can go, but it's difficult to win that case. And the judge said, look, that is a commercial dispute about the issue of cutting off services. Of course, the Environment and Land Court, in the following day, before Justice Omolo, said actually there should be, because then Environment and Land Court, said if there is any filth there, because 2 of the trucks had not left, please restore it, and we were happy to comply. But there were no orders as to, the cutting off of the service, the water and the sanitation, was pursuant to our law that allows us to enforce on somebody who owes us. And that wasn't true, Chair. I hope I have answered. Now, so our public health department, that has...
You are sure the West was, the cleanup took place immediately, within 30 minutes? That is how many days after?
Like 3 days after.
2 days, okay.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, I don't know. Chairman, I'm fully aware that I'm on oath. And so I give the whole honest truth. And where we're wrong, I admit, Chair, where we're wrong. Yeah. So our public health department, we had fumigators. I have photos here. If you look at the first annex and the second annex. And Chair, I've been leading cleanups every Sunday evening. We have Green Army of 3,500 young people. And the CBD has been getting that cleanup etc. So this cleanup, the last one we've done, we sent teams also to Electricity House here within Harambee Avenue. And we sent, I think, 100 or 200 of the young people who went to Stima Plaza fumigators. The measures taken in collaboration or coordination with other agencies such as NEMA and public health officials, considering that Nairobi City County Government has primary responsibility on health and environment as per the Constitution, we've effectively addressed the issue, but we work closely with NEMA. They had also issued restoration orders, which, of course, we respect. We respect NEMA. We work with them in many aspects. In fact, my CEC, my chief executive officer, county executive committee member in charge of Green Nairobi, is actually a NEMA employee, seconded to the county. So we are one. We are working now on extended producer responsibility on the issue of dumping, material recovery facilities across the county, together with NEMA. The measures that Nairobi City County government has put in place to ensure safety of residents affected by dumping of garbage and sewage, and Chair, for clarity, no sewage was dumped. No sewage was released. That now just, it would be any, I have no words. None of that happened. In fact, what happened, Chair, was at Electricity House, when the service was cut off. Normally when that service is cut off, you don't use those facilities. And you have to come and agree on how it's restored. But it's almost like an order was given for them to flush the system from inside. And so that is why you saw something on the road. It was not dumping, that as if you'd send an exhauster to go and pour sewage. That is quite, that never happened. It didn't happen at all, And
we don't want to go there because KPLC is not here to prove that part. Whether it's true, it's them who...
Yeah, but it came from me. And actually when that happened, Chair, I immediately instructed Nairobi Water Company to just restore, because then I knew the next day we were having the meeting with the minister out of goodwill. I said, even before the resolution of this, just restore, just reconnect. And that reconnection was done on Thursday evening before our meeting the following day. The measures that we put in place to ensure that such occurrence does not happen. The result of the agreement of the meeting held on the 25th of February and chaired by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service. I have put the photos of the meeting, Annex 2. Myself and the Cabinet Secretary of Energy, and also we have the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee represented there. Because ideally this dispute should be sorted at that stage. But when one entity is ignoring the other one, how do you sort it out? Yeah? We agreed to deal with the commercial issues and discuss the way live and land rights question. In fact, I was very happy, Chairman, at that meeting. The Head of Public Service was so kind to say, actually, give us all the bills that national government institutions owe you for water. And we gave him a list totaling 1 billion owed to Nairobi Water. Nairobi Water is a company fully owned by the county government of Nairobi. So it's owed to Nairobi. So we sent him a list that broke down which ministry, which department. I don't think I need to go through the list because we've agreed we will find a way to settle. We're all government, so we agree. And that list is available if you require it, Chairman.
Sakaja doesn't owe you much.
He does. The police also has quite a bit. But we support each other. If you look at the police stations, even we are building some together with them. In Dandora, in Mihango, we're doing something together with the law courts. Part of what we're doing for housing in Madare, and I think the president, is actually police land, what we call depot. So we work together. We understand institutions sometimes, Public schools owe us 168 million. What do? Do you cut off children from what? 168 million, from public schools. Water service providers, our neighbors here, owe us 450 million, Kiambu. The WSPs. It also, you can't deny, because the water that we bring, Nairobi has 4 sources, Chair, to fill the capacity of 7 million residents. But still, we can't bring water and ignore Wiru, and ignore EPZ, and ignore Kajiado County. So we have to rationalize, and we will not cut them off, because they're also people of Kenya who deserve those services. So the resultant agreement, national government and its agencies and companies, which it holds shares, are to meet its financial obligations by settling debts owed to Nairobi County, including wage leave, contribution in lieu of rates. Chairman, you're asking about Kanja, but you should also ask about Parliament. there's a debt, of Silo. Yeah, and let me not go into it, because I think our institutions can deal with it. We can deal with it. I've been in communication with the clerk of the Senate, who's the secretary to the Parliamentary Service Commission, because there's much more we can do, as your host county. just like we showed during the Bunge Tower and the square where we've transformed. The other information